I think now it would be very nice if we can preview your newest chair. And it looks wonderfully comfortable. Tell us something about it.
This chair is artistic, it's timeless.
One of the most recognizable chairs in the history of furniture.
This is the Herman Miller Eames lounge chair, and it is a grail item for many people. Since its release in the 1950s, many people have equated owning one of these to status and wealth, not dissimilar to owning a Rolex or a Porsche. Case in point, you know the show Shark Tank, where people come pitch their business ideas to very wealthy billionaires? Of all the chairs they could have chosen to represent the status and the wealth of these sharks, they chose to go with the Herman Miller Eames lounge chair. Psych, just kidding. Internet sleuths have actually discovered that the Eames lounge chair that they use on that show are actually fakes. They are replica versions. So get that in your head. This thing is so expensive that even a show like Shark Tank refused to buy the real version of these chairs. The starting price for the Eames lounge chair with ottoman is now around $7,000. The configuration I have here though is actually closer to $10,000. I actually bought it when it was on a 20% sale, bringing the price closer to $8,000. But the real question is it worth it? Let's get honest. In this week's video, I'm gonna be doing a review of this chair, but in next week's video, I'm gonna be doing a buyer's guide where I do a deep dive into every single configuration option for this chair to help you in your purchasing decision. That being said, if you wanna pick up anything you see in this video, including this chair here, links will be in the description or it'll be tagged in my YouTube shop that's in the description of this video. Using them really helps this channel a lot and I really, really appreciate your support. With any product this expensive, you know it's gonna have a story behind it, and it's no different for the Eames lounge chair. If you don't care about this part, feel free to use the timestamps to skip ahead, but I think the history of this chair is really cool and it's what makes this chair so iconic. Back in World War II, people were using metal for braces and splints, and it was heavy, it was clunky, not a very good design, and especially during wartime, metal was precious. You needed that for other things. So the government put out a request and asked for people to come up with other designs for splints and braces. This is where Charles and his wife Ray Eames come into the picture. You see, they were experimenting with bending plywood to apply to furniture, and using that knowledge, they applied to this grant and they actually won. You see, prior to this, bending wood wasn't something people really thought about doing that often, and the knowledge of how to do so wasn't really wide known. Many years later, Herman Miller, a furniture production company, would partner with the Eameses to come up with furniture ideas. Herman Miller had the production capability to mass produce furniture to bring to life the Eameses' unique furniture ideas. One day, the Eameses were watching their friend Billy Wilder, who was a Hollywood director. In between sets, they would watch him try to get comfortable in a typical lounge chair of that time and watch him fail miserably. This is what sparked the idea to maybe develop and design a lounge chair. Now, Charles Eames wanted this chair to remind him of a first baseman's baseball mitt, which is the reason why the Eames looks like the way it does. And in order to design this chair, to make this chair, they decided to go back to their old roots of bending plywood, and that's how they came up with the multi-layered plywood single-piece shell for the Eames chair. This level of using curved wood in a furniture piece was nearly unprecedented, which is why this chair became so iconic, and the rest is history. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment for the algorithm, and get subscribed for more chair and home office tech reviews. Configuration options. In next week's video, in part 2, I'll do a deep dive into every single configuration option, but in this one, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of each configuration option. The first option you see when you go to Herman Miller's website is going to be the sizing. You can choose the standard size or the tall size. And I'm going to strongly recommend that for most people, you go for the tall size. This is the tall size here. I'm 5'6", I'm not that tall, and I find the tall size to be perfect. Now, from consensus that I've read online, it seems like the standard version is probably best for people that are 5'4" and under. In the design and comfort section of this video, I'm going to have my friend who's 6 foot tall share his thoughts about the chair. The next option is going to be the shell. So you get multiple choices for the shell, which really means just the wood veneer, what type of wood and what type of finish you want on this veneer here. Now, most of the finishes are gonna be a lacquered finish with the exception of 2. Lacquered basically means that they finished it and it's pretty well protected. You don't need to do anything to it. If it gets dirty, you just need to dust it off and that's it. 2 of the woods, however, have an oiled finish, oiled walnut and oiled palisander. What that means is about once a year, you're gonna have to take oil and reapply it to the wood veneer of the chair. Now that sounds like a lot of work, sounds like pretty messy. Why would anyone choose that? And it's because that actually looks most similar to what the original wood looked like on the Herman Miller Eames lounge chair, which was a rosewood wood veneer. They discontinued the rosewood veneer in 1991, I believe, because that species of wood is now nearly extinct. When it comes to upholstery options, you get three main choices. You can either go with leather, vegan leather, or fabric. And if you're worried about your friends doubting the authenticity of your chair, I highly recommend going with a fabric option, because then you will know for sure that it's a real chair, because no fake Eames that I'm aware of uses a fabric finish on their Eames lounges. There are three different fabric options. There's the Flammable, the Checker, and the Mohair Supreme. I'll get into the details about how many double rubs, which testing method they used for these fabrics in the next video, but all you need to know is that the Flammable is the most affordable option, and then you have the Checker, which has a checkered pattern to it. It's the second most expensive option, and then you've got the Mohair Supreme, which is the most expensive fabric option. There's only one vegan leather option, and it's the bamboo leather option. This was released very, very recently in July of 2024, and according to Herman Miller, it's supposed to be buttery smooth, it's supposed to have a leather-like texture, and it's supposed to be very, very durable. But when I looked up what bamboo leather feels like and other applications and users' opinions of bamboo leather for other things, I couldn't find anything out there. All I can say though is that bamboo leather is very expensive, costing just as much as the third most expensive genuine leather option. There are 5 different options when it comes to genuine leather upholstery options, and the general principle for leather is that the less touched, the less processed the leather is, the more expensive, the nicer the leather is going to be, because in order to not process it as much, it needs to be a very nice looking piece of hide. So the most expensive leathers, there's a tie for 2. It's the all-grain leather and the Stool leather. The all-grain leather is the least processed of all the leathers, but the Stool leather is a little bit more processed, so they can give you different color options for it. Prone leather is going to be the third most expensive option. Again, the same price as the bamboo leather, and it's a little bit more processed, but it's going to have a similar feel and finish as the all-grain leather. And finally, the most affordable leather options are going to be the Vicenza and the 2100 series. Both of these cost the same. The 2100 series is Herman Miller's most popular leather option though. For this chair, I went with the all-grain leather because I don't have an emotional attachment to this chair. I bought this chair to review and also hopefully one day in the future be able to maybe even make a profit off of, because if I'm gonna get a chair, if I'm gonna invest in a chair, I want a chair that's got a little bit more zhuzh to it to hopefully make it a little bit more rare, a little bit harder to get your hands on in the future. Design and comfort. Prior to owning this Eames Lounge chair here, I actually own a couple replicas, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that every time someone walked into my space, their head would immediately turn and stare at the Eames Lounge chair design. For better or for worse, this chair demands to be recognized. I mean, it has such a unique design. I personally think it looks freaking beautiful. I would love to know what you all think, but I also want to raise this question. I mean, how many furniture designs from the 1950s still is coveted by people today? I can only think of a few pieces that are like that. But is this chair actually comfortable, or is it a design-first product? I'm gonna talk about the comfort of this chair in 3 different seating positions. We'll start from this kind of upright seating. There's an iconic picture of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs sitting in an Eames Lounge chair talking like this. And in this kind of seated position, I would say the comfort is just okay. The cushion is really, really soft, feels like a cloud, feels great. However, the nature of the seat is that it's reclined, and because of that, sitting in this kind of position is not super duper comfortable for long periods of time. Also, because of the nature of the recline of the front, it means that it's really easy to find yourself slouching in this chair, because if it were declined like this, then your feet would be pushing into the ground, allowing you to raise that upper back up. So in this position, it's just okay. Also, if you have shorter legs like me, you might find your calves kind of digging into the front. Really easy fix, you can just like leave it out here. But again, if you put it out here, you find yourself slouching even easier inside of this chair. Now, when it comes to a slightly scooched forward position, because you might want to have your head kind of here in this position or in a more nap-friendly position, because you kind of want to sit like this and have some, side support like this on the other side. In a position like this, me being 5'6", totally comfortable. Really, really great position. I feel cushion padding all over my back, all up and down my back. My head obviously gets support. It feels really, really great. The only downside here is going to be the armrest. Now I'm forcing my elbows down in like the most lowest position here like this, but if I were reading a book, if I were looking at something, scrolling through an iPad, whatever it might be, these elbows are way too short. And so I wish there was a way, or I wish there was a chair that was designed to have the elbow rest a little bit more up so I could hold it here, whatever I was reading, in a position for longer periods of time. And then we come to the fully scooched back position. Again, me being 5'6", this position is probably going to be the best for talking, straight ahead to somebody, when you wanna read and you wanna read looking straight ahead, this position is great, again, for someone like me, 5'6". I'm getting full contact support all along my spine, all along my back, and lifting my head up like this is no problem inside of this chair. However, when you get to a taller person, this position and the slightly scooched down position, you're gonna find that it might get a little bit problematic. Anyways, don't take it from me. Here's my friend Terry, who's 6 foot tall.
Overall, I love this chair. It holds me in all the right places at the right pressures. The cushion is soft, but it's firm at the same time. From a sitting position, when I'm sitting like this, it doesn't feel natural. It has, because of this slight decline here, I feel like I'm kind of fighting gravity to stay up. But to be fair, I don't think the chair is designed for me to sit like this. So naturally, I just want to kind of fall into this slouch position, which I love. Again, I love sitting in this chair in this particular position because it's perfect for me, because this is how I sit all the time. I do wish I could get a little bit more support in the lower back area, but this is a problem that a lot of chairs have, so I'm used to it. All right, I'm gonna try it with a pillow. Here we go. Perfect. And when I do scoot back, which I would love to be able to do, because now I have this lower back support, we have a new problem. Ouch. My head hits the wood, and now I'm just looking at the sky.
The cushioning on this though feels phenomenal. It feels really thick, it feels nice and plushy. When you are just lounging it, when you're just relaxing, having a chat with a friend, just maybe drinking some coffee with a side table or something like that, reading for short periods of time, I think this chair does feel very, very comfortable. It does feel very snug. It feels like it's hugging you. Just keep in mind that the taller you get, the less ideal this chair becomes for you because of that gap created in that lower back area. The cushioning on the armrests are different from the rest of the chair. The ottoman, the seat, and the backrest are all using very plushy, very thick cushions. The armrests are using thick cushions, but it's definitely much firmer compared to the rest of the chair. As a matter of fact, I was a little bit surprised at how stiff these armrests were compared to the chair. That doesn't mean that you're not getting support. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have a good amount of give. It's just not as cloud feeling like the rest of the chair is. Resale value and longevity. One of the selling points that I hear over and over about the Eames lounge chair is that if you buy this thing, in a few years, the value of the chair can go up. And I think that this used to be true, but I don't think it's true anymore. And that's because of Herman Miller's movement towards using more sustainable materials. Using sustainable materials is great for the earth, but it's terrible for the value of items. You see, everything is supply and demand. And the older Herman Miller Eames lounge chairs, they used rosewood veneer, and rosewood is near extinct, so they stopped making those chairs. Also, some of the older chairs use down feathers, duck down feathers, as well as cushion inside of their cushions, and they no longer use that anymore. And because those chairs are very rare and the demand is high, the price has gone up. With sustainable materials, I can't imagine these materials going away anytime soon, unless cows just become wiped off the face of the earth or something. The second reason I don't think the Eames lounge chair value is gonna go up anytime soon is because these things go on sale. When was the last time you heard of a Rolex Daytona going on sale? When was the last time you heard of a Porsche going on sale? Those things don't happen, and in my limited understanding, the only time something goes on sale is when supply is high and demand is low. To try to drive up demand, you put things on sale. Case in point, again, the Rolex Daytona. The supply of that watch is so low that buying a used one, a modern used one, costs double the price of buying one new. And trying to buy one new, good luck. The average consumer probably will never be able to achieve that in their entire lifetime. Now, even though the value of the chair won't go up anytime soon, one thing that is true is that if you take good care of this chair, it will probably outlast you and even your kids. If you take good care of it, it's a good chair that you can get easily fixed, easily repaired, as opposed to having to chuck into the trash. The warranty. If you buy your chair from HermanMiller.com, the entire chair will be covered under warranty for 5 years, and if you decide to return it, you can return it within 30 days for a $50 fee. Final thoughts. I think most people who are looking into the Eames lounge chair, you want to buy this thing for an emotional reason, right? It's a physical reminder for you for, I've done it, I've achieved my goal, I have made it. And it's a physical reminder for you, for your friends, for your family, for everybody who comes into your home to see this thing. And trust me, people will see it. The design just stands out. And if that's you, if this is a physical reminder of your toil and the reward for your labor, then I think something like this is always going to be worth it. However, if you're somebody who's just looking for a nice looking chair that's comfortable, Unless you're stupid rich, the Eames lounge chair probably won't be the best fit. As a matter of fact, you're gonna see in the comment section a lot of people recommending alternative lounge chairs that they found to be probably a little bit more comfortable than the Eames lounge chair. I'd love to know, would you guys pick up an Eames lounge chair? Until next time, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.